All right, everybody. Just first, I want to let you know that we are recording this meeting. We're going to put it on YouTube in the next week or so. So those that you know that wanted to come and can't show up, we're going to put it on there. So, and if they have any questions, please feel free to reach out to town staff or Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, would you like to say a few words before we get started here? You're currently muted.
No, it's just another exciting program for the town, and it's environmental friendly, pedestrian friendly, making everything wonderful communities. And I want to thank the staff for putting this together. It's just another terrific addition to what we're trying to make Emmitsburg become in this 21st century. But Zach, you're on the air. And thank you, Kathy Willits, who's here on the town manager.
So hello, everyone. My name is Zach Goulden, and I am the town planner for the town of Emmitsburg. A large portion of my duties do include the town's federal stormwater management permit, which I'm going to explain a little bit first before we get started into the presentation. The town of Emmitsburg, along with other Frederick County municipalities such as Brunswick, Frederick City, Middletown, Mount Airy, Myersville, Thurmont, and Walkersville, are mandated by the federal and state governments to participate in a national pollutant discharge elimination system general permit. Permittees covered under this permit must manage, implement, and enforce management programs for controlling stormwater discharges within our jurisdiction. Permittees must also ensure that the following minimum control measures are implemented within the jurisdiction. Public education and outreach. For example, we have a rain barrel program. So if you want rain barrels for your house, please reach out to me. They're $80 originally, but we have a grant and they're $40 now for residents. We have a storm drain marker program, and we also hand out education materials of the importance of stormwater management. I'm sure you guys seen a bunch of insert in your past water and sewer bills for stormwater management. Public involvement and participation. Every year we have a tree planting, Arbor Day event. We have storm drain marking events, and we also hold rain barrel workshops. In the future, we want to possibly hold a rain garden workshop after the COVID crisis ends. Third, we have we're responsible for illicit discharge detection and illumination. Each year we have to inspect 20% of our stormwater facilities within the town to make sure pollutants are not entering our waterways. 4 and 5 kind of lumped together: construction site stormwater runoff control and post-construction stormwater management. This is handled by Frederick County. Basically, when a new development comes in, they are responsible for making sure that the dirt and other pollutants from their construction site don't go off of their construction site. And also pollution prevention and good housekeeping. Every year, every single staff member plus the mayor must get trained in different types of topics such as spill prevention and response, proper disposal and waste, and etc. The most important and most expensive portion of our mandatory permit, and why we are here tonight, is the permit's Chesapeake Bay restoration and meeting daily maximum daily load requirement. Each permit term, which is a 5-year permit term, we are mandated to undertake restoration activities in order to treat stormwater produced within our jurisdiction. During this permit term, the mayor and board of commissioners, along with staff, have determined the following projects are the most important projects to undertake. So we do storm inlet cleaning. This is done by our public works staff. We do street sweeping. This is also done by our town's public works staff, and we're going to plant 30 acres of trees near and around our wastewater treatment plant. And finally, we're going to retrofit the Silo Hill stormwater basin for why we're here tonight. These projects have been found to be the most cost-effective projects during this term. The Silo Hill stormwater basin was constructed in 2002. It was constructed to only hold stormwater and not to remove pollutants from the neighborhood. We will be retrofitting the basin in order to both hold stormwater and also remove pollutants. The project is a significant investment by the town at a cost of approximately $224,000. However, we are actively pursuing grants, and we're actually just about to submit a grant for almost $50,000 here next week. So now I'm going to turn it over to David and Kevin. They are our contractors for the project, and they're going to be explaining this particular project. Please hold your questions to the end, and then we'll answer as many as we can. So thank you.
All right, I guess I'll start off. My name is Dave Pillmeyer. I am a project manager who works at Barton and LaJudas, and our office is based out of Eldersburg, Maryland. So we're local. We do a lot of work in and around Frederick County. So we're pretty familiar with a lot of the needs and requirements of projects of this nature. But I guess a good place to start here tonight is to just talk a little bit about the project requirements and some of the goals. The primary project requirements here is to, as Zach was talking about, satisfy state and federal permitting requirements, particularly the MS4 requirements. And then of course to improve the condition of this existing basin to be more aesthetically pleasing to the members of the community. So there's dual, I guess, in lockstep goals here. And I guess, like Zach was saying, the facility was initially designed as a dry pond, but as it turns out, it's been acting more as a wet pond, wet basin. So that's part of what's driving this project, trying to get this thing to function in a way that the town can satisfy permitting requirements that get treatment credits and have this stormwater basin function as it's intended to. And the approach would be to retrofit the basin as a dry basin with intermittent inundation of water during high intensity storm events. And the design that we're planning here will focus on infiltration and filtering practices. So the idea is for water to not collect in here, to still function as a dry pond and for it to filter. And we're considering also long-term maintenance and full life cycle costs of the retrofit as an upfront key design criterion. And the improved basin will, again, improve the aesthetic value through the use of native plant species, and also will improve water quality and flood reduction in accordance with the town's MS4 permit and impervious area restoration plan. So with that backdrop, I'm going to turn things over to Kevin Reese, who is a very important and vital part of our team here. And we're happy to have him here tonight to help walk through some of the conceptual design elements that we have planned.
Hi, thank you, David. Yes, my name is Kevin Reese. I have a company called Nativescapes out of southeastern Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia region. I'm specialized in rain gardens and stormwater management and ecological maintenance of various systems such as stream banks and woodland areas and forests for various clients of mine. This particular project, as David was saying, we are trying to capture water in a manner where we allow it to soak into the ground over a period of time during storm events. And that would feed into the base flow and groundwater systems of our neighboring creeks and lessen stormwater flooding, flash flooding events during storms, such as we may have seen over the last day or two. Also to bring back some ecological value at this time, I believe the basin is primarily cattail, monoculture of species, along with a couple of different trees and shrubs. But the aim would be to bring back some ecological diversity via plant life, various herbaceous material, perennial plants, which are always going to be coming back and spreading and thriving, and bringing in birds and other insects and animal life into the system. But also to deal with that stormwater management issue is a primary goal here. And we do that by allowing the stormwater to soak into the ground. So the aim of this project would be to, or the steps rather, would be to go through the area and potentially amend the soils down to a specific depth. Once we get the geotech information data back, we'll be able to better understand what depth that might be. Utilize the groundwater system existing, find out where that is and how we might be able to use that to help infiltrate more stormwater and allow for better percolation into the soil. And also to utilize different elevations within the basin in order to allow for a different planting palette. So you can get drier species in one area, wetter species in another area, some species which may help to reduce chemicals in the water in a phytoremediation kind of method. And then also just the functionality of it all, making sure it works, making sure it connects with Flat Run and the riparian area along Flat Run. In fact, kind of borrowing from that plant palette and trying to draw that into the retrofitted basin. So we kind of make it all one system and one working riparian area.
Okay, Kevin, would you want me at this point to scroll down through these different images that I've captured out of some of our other documents? Do you think now's the time for that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, just off the cuff, I think everybody that's here today is familiar with the image that they see on the screen right now. That's the basin as it exists. Yeah, we took these pictures, oh, I don't know, I want to say it was obviously in the winter time, but it was last year. It was last year. So they're pretty recent pictures. So I imagine it probably isn't too terribly different aside from seasonal changes. But here is a rendering, actually, of what I guess you could say we hope it might look like, kind of an after picture. Of course, the investigative work still needs to be done. We still need to evaluate, existing site conditions and see if what we have planned is actually going to be what it will look like here in the end. But this, of course, is, I guess, what we might hope this looks like for everybody in some time in the future. Scrolling down, this is the conceptual design plan that Kevin did a great job putting together. So I'll go ahead and let him walk you through here. And Kevin, when you want me to scroll down, just say so.
Yeah, so this just shows the basin area. If you want to, you can scroll down to the one with the inflows here. So this illustration just shows the existing inflows to the system. You have the 3 at the bottom there, which are coming from the community, from Silo Hill community, and then exiting into the Flat Run area via that one stem there. As the picture showed, mostly cattail, some trees and shrubs here and there. And then if you want to scroll down, so we visited the site January, I believe it was January 8th. One of the only days we got snow, it seems like. And again, showing the site as it was existing then. Top picture just showing the inflow. What would that be on the north side? And then the view from the street area is the middle picture on the left. And other pictures just showing the outflow, the riser pipe, which goes out to Flat Run, which would be behind you. If you want to scroll down, we can look at the proposed layout for what we're talking about, amending it or retrofitting it to be. Again, the inflows on the top, we would look at installing various sized rock and cobbles to slow down that flow upon storm events. We would bring in or restore something of a channel in that area, as well as the area to the bottom right, I believe that would be the southeast of the basin, if my direction is correct. And so create braided network of channels that would slow water down, allow for further infiltration. This is all after we amend the soils and install stone and sand filtration systems throughout the area, throughout the basin, allowing water again to filter into the ground, thereby cleansing it and it becoming groundwater. Again, multiple elevations, such as the proposed mound in the middle there, that brown spot, that would allow for different planting, different tree species to be put in, different shrubs, thereby attracting different wildlife. And then on the left side of the picture that we're looking at there, there are the top and bottom circular areas. Those are primary capture points for stormwater. So upon a storm event happening, water would enter that area, and those areas would be a foot to 3 feet deep at the deepest, and then slope up gently. But that would be where stormwater is allowed to sit and then soak in over time during major storm events. Typical rainfall would just come into the system, soak into the channels, maybe into some of these other capture points, but not hopefully into the riser pipe and et cetera, and out to the flat run. I'm kind of referring to those points as rain gardens, little mini rain gardens or bigger rain gardens within the basin, because a rain garden is doing much the same as what we see here. This is just a larger scale version of that to handle the 22 acres that we're looking at for the Silo Hill community. If you want to scroll down, we'll look at a proposed planting plan, just conceptual. So again, this is all in a conceptual design phase at this point. As David said, once we get further data, we'll be able to nail down exactly where some of these pools are and what the elevations might be, as well as where some of these mounds might be where we could do different plantings. Again, different trees and shrubs to give us different elevations. Smaller shrubs and trees will attract different birds. Larger trees are going to attract a different kind of species of birds. Throughout the area, throughout the basin, we would be planning on doing a mix of various sedges and grasses and rushes, kind of like a wetland mix. A lot of those love the water. They like to be wet. They also have root systems which allow for drainage to properly soak into the ground, as well as doing herbaceous perennial plants, again, to allow for those plants to spread, come back every year, minimal maintenance on those, and they look beautiful. So during this springtime right now, you might see some various sunflowers, black-eyed Susans, partridge pea, Indian grasses in some drier spots, various types of plants, various colors, various insects, various birds, various things coming into the system, bringing some more ecology into the backyards of the Silo Hill community. And then if you want to scroll down again, we'll look at the cross section. Again, just showing the topsoil amendment would be on the top. We'd probably have to go down a few feet and amend the soil. That topsoil amendment for a rain garden mix is typically a third soil, a third sand, and a third compost. Varies depending on how much filtration you want in that system. And then under that would be a sand layer, which would help in the cleansing and drainage of the system, of the stormwater. And then a stone layer potentially to allow further drainage and water to soak into the ground. And again, we would be trying to potentially utilize the existing riser pipe that is there, but based on the data that we have, that we'll be getting shortly, we'll be making that determination if another structure might be needed, or we could potentially use this one and just kind of retrofit that as well. And you can see here the various grasses and trees and shrubs and various things in the cross section. Some of these might be also yellow dogwood, red and yellow dogwood, maple leaf viburnum, blackhaw, chokeberry, buttonbush, all shrubs that are about 8 to 12 feet tall. And then some of the trees might be smooth alder, red maple, American sycamore, hornbeam, or black gum, wet species, riparian species, because again, we are extending that riparian area into the community, into this basin. And if you'd like to scroll down again there, David, please.
That's where I'm cutting off with the imagery.
All right. There's some other precedent pictures. But again, if you know, you can also Google various retention basin retrofit projects that many companies, there's a lot up here in the Philadelphia area that has been done in this. A lot of these are what we're striving to kind of provide, and with the functionality, the infiltration, the ecological value, the beauty. There are some great references out there to look at, especially in this Philadelphia area where they've really spearheaded this kind of work and doing curbside bump outs in communities. As Zach said, all of these help in stormwater reduction and the flattening that we all see during storm events lately. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, Kevin, Zach here. One thing I know a lot of people always question is, will this basin bring in mosquitoes?
Well, so the whole idea in the infiltration is, and this goes for a rain garden or even this kind of system, which is just, like I said, a scaled up version of a rain garden, is to have that water infiltrate and soak into the ground within at least 72 hours. The hope is really 48. That reduces mosquitoes to produce the larvae and everything and utilize the standing water as breeding ground. So if there's no standing water, if that water is soaking into the ground, there's no place for mosquitoes to thrive and come to. The other idea is that we're bringing in other plants and trees and shrubs that are going to be attracting different wildlife, such as birds and bats, which are going to eat those bugs that we don't want. So again, the ecological value in it.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for that. So if there are any questions from members of the public, we're doing our best to design this to make you proud of your stormwater basin. As you can see, we're going to be adding a lot of trees, a lot of plants. We're also going to be adding an educational plaque for those children and stuff to read. We want to design this to meet everyone's needs here. So we're more than willing to take suggestions, comments. Are there any questions, comments?
Hi, Zach. This is Jennifer O'Connell. I am the president of the Flat Run Homeowners Association, which is the homes that back up to this current drainage pond. And this looks absolutely outstanding. It looks like it's going to be a wonderful project and is really going to bring a lot to our community. And anything to cut down on our current mosquito problem would be wonderful. So it's all great. I know that there's some people in the adjacent neighborhoods that is questioning some things such as how will this be accessed during the project and those kind of things. And I don't know if this is the time to ask those questions or if it's more just an overview of what's going to happen, and that as the project comes together, then we'll have a better understanding of how people are going to be accessing the space. I know especially one of the houses has young children that back right up to the fence. So we want to just make sure that we have some understanding of how those things are going to happen.
David, do you want to address that?
Well, obviously all the proper and necessary safety protocols are going to be followed. The contractor who's going to be doing this work, they're going to know better than anybody else here tonight how to answer your question. So what I can do for you is, and as we get a little bit more farther down the road here, I can talk to the contractor and see what their plans are, and of course we can get back to you with that answer, because as it is right now, I don't think we've gotten to a point where we've considered just how the equipment's going to get in and out. But yeah, I can get back to you all with that.
Yeah, I mean, they may have to take down portions of the fence, but we will definitely, put them back. You're obviously going to see some, the grass is going to get torn up, but that is part of the contract, is to restabilize everything. And we are going to require a performance bond. So, at the conclusion of the project, Jen, I'll reach out to you. We'll be in contact during the entire project, but I'll definitely reach out to you and we'll do a walkthrough and we'll make sure that everybody's satisfied before we release that bond.
That sounds wonderful. Again, we're really excited about it. We just obviously want to make sure that everything stays safe and that everybody knows what's going to be happening, which I understand we're still in the planning stages, so we might not be there just yet to understand phasing, and that's definitely obviously something that several of the neighborhood houses are just wanting to know about. So the sooner we get there to answer those questions, I know that'll make some of them feel a lot better about what's going on. But these renderings are spectacular, and me being an avid birder, I'm very excited about this myself. So we're very excited to see how this is going to come along.
Yeah, definitely. We're just in the design phase right now. And as Kevin and David were saying, there's still some studies that have to be done to determine exactly what kind of plantings and soils have to go in there. So we just wanted to give an overview of the project, just make sure everybody's aware, and show the possibilities and take comments and questions. But Jen, if you want to send me over a list of all those questions that your residents have, I can definitely send that over to Bearing Construction. They're the ones that are actually going to be, doing the bulldozers and everything else. So we'll get those answers for you as soon as possible.
Actually, that sounds really great. That way everybody can kind of sit down and think about really what are their questions, and making sure that the access, they understand how things are going to be accessed, so that, they know what's going on. So yeah, I'll go ahead and work with everybody and get some questions. Obviously, if there's anybody else on that would like to ask a question now, absolutely. But I'll definitely see if anybody has any specific questions and get those over.
Sure.
And one other thing that I do think would be appropriate to share at this point is, off the cuff, some of the preliminary studies that are going to be done, I'd say inside of the next month, most likely, is you might see a survey crew out there just doing some survey work, and eventually you might see just a truck-mounted geoprobe or a push probe, just to go out there to put some quick borings into the ground so that the subsurface can be investigated. That's all some of the really early stage investigative work that needs to be done before we can even really complete the design. But it might even be a backhoe out there if we decide that it might be prudent to put a test pit in, so that we can get a better sense of where the the limiting layers and the soil horizons are, and where groundwater might be, and information like that. So I guess in the next month, you can maybe anticipate seeing that kind of work happening.
Thank you, David.
Sure.
Are there any other questions before we end here? Okay, thank you everybody for coming.
Hey, Zach, I got a question. This is Brenda.
Hey, Brenda.
Can you come to one of our HOA meetings? If Jen schedules one and we have, can you come to one? Do you think, Jen?
We can try that and see if that'll happen, and see if we can, if there's some questions and concerns, and take it from there. I can work with you, Zach, and see if we can get something together.
Yeah, I'm definitely willing to come to an HOA meeting. I prefer it to be Zoom if possible. If I could Zoom in, I do have a 2-month-old son, so I'm kind of paranoid with the whole COVID stuff.
Absolutely, we completely understand that.
So
Yes.
absolutely, yeah. Especially when we get to the design, I would love to show it to you and take more questions and comments, because it's, this is your basin. We want you to be happy.
Absolutely, that sounds great. Yes, we can definitely work on that, Brenda.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Great job, Zach. Great job.
All righty, everybody. Thank you, Mayor Briggs. Thank you, Kathy. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to me, the mayor, or Kathy, our town manager, and we will get you an answer. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Here.